What's up, guys? This is your astrological forecast for the week of Monday, May 11th through Sunday, May 17th. Um, yeah, as a whole, it's a little bit more casual. In general, things are getting less intense week by week. That's what I've been seeing. The past few months were obviously very intense, but I do think things are getting a little bit less intense. So starting Monday, May 11th. We do have the moon in Capricorn, and in general, in recent times, this is definitely the most difficult part of the chart, part of the zodiac for the moon to pass through, just because it's in detriment in Capricorn, but also it has to pass over Pluto, which is a malefic, Jupiter, which is a little bit more friendly, but then right as it enters Aquarius, it passes Saturn, which is also malefic. So yeah, in general, every time it passes through Capricorn, specifically the end of Capricorn, things are just a little bit more intense, a little bit more bleak. Um, so and the moon is in detriment in Capricorn, which means that it's exiled there, or it doesn't feel at home, and the moon represents our emotions. So, once a month, every time for the couple days where the moon passes through this sign, we might just feel a little bit restless, or feel a little bit weird, or awkward, or stressed, because emotionally, it's just hard to feel like you can just rest emotionally. You're not in your place emotionally. That, and of course it depends on your chart for everyone in particular, but as a whole, that's kind of what we're all feeling. Just a little bit of uneasiness. Um, just because moon's in Capricorn. Other than that, though, it looks like a good day. So there is that kind of stressful tension. However, we have Mercury entering Gemini in the evening of the 11th, so late on Monday. Um, so I think that's a good thing. Mercury will be in domicile for the first time in a long time. Mercury has kind of a hard time through this whole half of the chart, really. Like it's in detriment in Sagittarius. Capricorn is like really serious and long term. So Mercury, and then it's kind of exalted in Aquarius, and it likes to be in Aries, but it's not really accustomed to being there. And then it's in fall and detriment in Pisces. So basically, it has a hard time through this whole part of the chart. Even Taurus is earthy, which is good, but then it's a little bit too stable for Mercury. So Mercury gets a little bit complacent in Taurus. So finally, starting Monday, May 11th, Mercury will be in Gemini, where it's at home. So people will be thinking more clearly. People will be able to communicate more clearly. The media will probably be a little bit more reliable. And yeah, going into Tuesday, so right after Mercury enters Gemini, it trines Saturn. And at this time, we also have the Sun approaching a trine with Pluto. So it's going to trine Pluto and Jupiter, and then Saturn once it enters Gemini. But basically, that means so not only are people thinking clearly, the media is more reliable, etc., but also there might be some positive information or positive thinking regarding this large situation that we've been dealing with. Positive developments. The Sun and Mercury are trining these planets, this cluster of planets. So, yeah, and especially, whoops, especially with the moon there, kind of highlighting that. The moon right in the middle of this cluster of planets, right as Mercury's trining Saturn and Sun. Basically, so the focus is on this big situation, which I don't even want to say the name of, but I think we all know what the big situation is that's going on. The focus is clearly on this situation, May 12th. And that might seem obvious. Well, obviously, isn't the focus always on the situation? But astrologically, no. There's been certain days where people just kind of tune out, and it makes sense that you can't just be, watching the news constantly every day. It gets a bit tiring. So it's not only tempting to check out every now and then, but it's probably healthy. And that's totally understandable. But May 12th, it looks like there's some news regarding the situation. I know that a lot of places are opening up. a lot of states are opening up. So, it could just be that. It could just be that a lot of places are opening up May 12th. Or maybe there's some maybe positive news. And in general, just judging off the astrology, it looks like we're responding to the situation in a positive way, that our systems are beginning to respond in a way that's effective. In the past, we responded too slow or whatever, or, whatever your opinion is. The past couple months, the system was not responding. It was not responding quick enough to the situation. But now it looks like the system is responding in an effective way. So I think we are opening up in a responsible and effective way, just judging off these trines. So that's good news. I think it looks really positive, really strong. So we're reaching another turning point with this situation in a positive way. Things are opening up, and Mercury going into Gemini in general just kind of lightens things up. We just don't want to be too serious. Let's just be a little bit lighter. Of course, depending on the situation. Okay, and then of course the moon enters Aquarius early Tuesday, May 12th, so it can join Saturn, which is kind of difficult, but the moon is in Aquarius, which is ruled by Saturn, and then Saturn's conjunct the moon, so that does lighten things up a bit. So I think Monday, May 11th is a little bit tense, but it gets much lighter on the 12th. Even in the morning, Tuesday morning, it'll be much lighter than Monday. And I think Monday might actually be the most tense day just because of the moon in detriment conjunct those planets. So, but it's not that bad. It's if that's the worst day of the week, then we're in good territory here. Okay, so going into Wednesday, May 13th, Mars enters Pisces, and then we've just got the moon transiting Aquarius. There's no exact aspects. In general, we've got Saturn, Mars, and Mercury all just at the beginning of signs. But they're not really exactly aspecting. And Mars in Pisces is an interesting placement. It's one of the hardest signs for Mars. It could even be the hardest sign for Mars. Mars technically isn't in detriment or fall, but in Pisces is emotional, but it's scattered, and it's about absorbing things and about experiencing many different things, and it's not very decisive. So Mars there is kind of confused. So we might, starting May 13th, and Mars will be there for over a month. We might not. Right now, it's not being aspected, so we probably won't feel it. In general, there's not a lot of planets and water signs. It's just Neptune and Mars and Pisces. But if we do ever feel angered, or like we need to take action against something, we might not know. You might be mad, but not even know who you're mad at, or how to express that energy, or where to point your anger or your frustration. Mars and Pisces can be confused. But like I said, right now it's not being aspected, so it's not a big deal, but that's just kind of the general Mars energy. Also, this begins, we've had two malefics, Mars and Saturn, in Aquarius for the past couple months, so starting May 13th, especially since Saturn's retrograde, but also with Mars in Pisces now, a lot of astrologers have predicted that, I did it again, a lot of astrologers have predicted that would mean that Mars going to Pisces would signify the states reopening, governments reopening, businesses reopening, everything. Because these two malefics in Aquarius is a sign of groups, and having two malefics there would constrict groups. So it's a pretty straightforward reading that there could be restrictions on groups. But now with Mars leaving Pisces and then Saturn is retrograde on its way to leave. I mean, sorry, Mars leaving Aquarius, going into Pisces, and then Saturn retrograde on its way to leave Aquarius. Uh, yeah, that could signify less tension with involving groups, maybe less restrictions on groups. So in general, even just not even thinking about what's going on in the world, I could see that there's positive developments regarding the situation. Less restrictions on groups, and just the systems. Not only the government, but also the people, the individuals, are more or less responding to the situation in an effective way, a decisive way, an effective way. Obviously, there's going to be some certain situations that are not preferable. Like it's a large country, and we're dealing with a heavy situation. So obviously, it's not going to be perfect, but in general, I do think we're doing all right now. We're getting somewhere. Going into Thursday, May 14th, there's a third quarter moon at 24 degrees Aquarius. So pretty much, so it's in the morning. And it's not a big deal. This happens every couple of weeks. Pluto is trining the sun at the same time. Um, Technically, the sun makes the exact trine with Pluto Friday, May 15th. Um, it's not a big deal. This third quarter moon isn't aspected by a lot of things. Quarter moons in general are, they can make you restless, make people a little bit more energized. Could be more agitated or just more energized in general, more fidgety, more inclined to stay up later. Pets and kids are more active, more hyper, just because there's this kind of restless energy. So not a huge deal. Just some restless energy on Thursday for sure. And that's pretty much it. Not a whole lot going on. Jupiter turns retrograde at 27 degrees Capricorn. Um, so we do have both Saturn, and Saturn has just recently turned retrograde, and then now with Jupiter turning retrograde, they're both basically stationary because when a planet goes retrograde, it doesn't just suddenly start moving backward. It slows down and basically stops, and then slowly starts going backward. So, and that's what stationary is. It's that time where the planet is basically not moving; it's stationary. So with Saturn and Jupiter both basically stationary, that means their energies are intensified. So these are the planets of society, and we're coming up to a Jupiter Saturn conjunction. They're very close to each other. So we're starting to feel sort of the rumblings of this aspect that will happen in December of this year. So this opportunity for major transformation of society, we're really close to something that's not quite happening yet. So that's kind of a mystery as of now. Obviously, there have already been a lot of transformations regarding society, but we're not done yet. There's still this major aspect that's going to happen later this year. Friday, May 15th, Moon actually enters Pisces and conjoins Mars late Thursday night. So that would kind of be what I was talking about, where people might be a little bit flustered or frustrated, but not really know exactly what they're frustrated about, or what to do about it, or like I'm mad, but I don't know who to be mad at, type of thing. Because it's kind of vague, it's kind of ethereal. So, but the moon is a quick moving planet. It's just Friday morning that people would be feeling a little bit, maybe just kind of groggy. If you're just waking up with that energy, you might be kind of groggy, like just waking up like you had a bad dream, or waking up feeling kind of grumpy. It would be that type of energy. I could see that for sure. But that does dissipate a little bit going into Friday. I think the moon likes being in Pisces in general. Pisces has a lot in common with Cancer. It has a lot in common with the moon. The moon's very sensual and sensitive and emotional, and it, it's happy in the water element. So in general, our emotions are somewhat content, just considering the moon in Pisces. Of course, after it leaves that conjunction with Mars. And we do have the sun making the exact trine with Pluto. And that's basically it. Mercury sextile Chiron at 8 degrees. So, kind of a minor aspect with a minor planetoid. So people being expressive of their wounds, so expressive of emotions. What I experienced with transits to Chiron is it's just kind of an awkward energy. It's like people are more empathetic, but it's kind of in an awkward way. Like people want to be understanding, or I mean, I think it just makes everyone a little bit more sensitive, which kind of leads to a sort of awkwardness, if that makes sense. Um, Chiron's kind of a weird planet, so it's kind of a weird energy. Um, So yeah, that's so Friday's a little bit weird. We start out in kind of a bad mood, a sleepy mood. There's this kind of awkward energy. It's nothing major, nothing like no like plot twist on Friday. Just it's just kind of a weird day. It's just kind of an off day. Saturday, May 16th, we've got the moon going through Pisces, moon conjoining Neptune, and this is a good aspect. People are probably feeling actually really positive, and it's sort of just a vague but very positive feeling. Because you've got the moon in Pisces, which is Neptune's home, and Neptune is conjoining the moon, so it's very accessible to make the moon feel at home, basically. So yeah, our emotions are, it's a good time for being reflective or just feeling, in a good mood. It'd be that type of aspect where you just feel like you're in a good mood and you have no idea why. You have no reason to be happy, but you just are. So you just go with it. Just feel that. That's Saturday. That's pretty much it. There's not a lot of aspects this week in general. But that's good. Things are just a little bit more quiet. That's good. Going into Sunday, May 17th, Sun trines Jupiter. So again, in general, this week as a whole, we've got first Mercury trining Saturn early in the week, and then Sun trine Pluto. Sorry, and then by Sunday, Sun is trining Jupiter. So just in general, again, like I said, there's positive developments with the situation at hand. People are reacting positively to the situation. So, and again, it's not going to be perfect, but I think we are. Some states are opening up a lot quicker than others, but as a whole, I think we are acting appropriately. Whether you want to open up and get back in business a week or two ago, or whether you want to do it in a few weeks, I think just the general time period is appropriate. This month as a whole is an appropriate time, to do what we're doing basically. So this is just a note of encouragement that the situation is developing in a positive way, in a productive way, and that people are responding in a productive way, and our systems are finally, meaning our government and our society, we're responding in a positive way. We're using our resources in a constructive way. So that's really great. And then also in the morning, Sunday, May 17th, early, we've got Moon entering Aries. So in general, this whole week, the moon has been waning, and by Sunday, it'll be a crescent moon, so approaching the end of the lunar cycle. And that's basically all I have for this week. So thanks for listening, and yeah, I think um, things are chugging along. I think we're getting through it, and there are some weird aspects later this year in September and October, and then everything totally changes in December. But as of now, I think we're just winding down off this crazy beginning of the year, and I do think things will be more positive and more relaxed going into June, and it could even be the most peaceful time of year. And of course, like everything is relative, things are not exactly peaceful, but just compared to these other intense aspects we have this year, I think late May going into June will be relatively peaceful. So we'll see though. I'll keep you guys updated. So thanks for watching. Bye.